Hello, I'm Bob Challoner, the Chief Administrative Officer of Stony Brook Southampton Hospital, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Focus on Stony Brook Southampton Hospital, your monthly program about the events, people, and services at your community hospital. We're doing a little bit of a different program today. Typically we have a doctor or a nurse or someone describing our clinical services, a lot of other programs that are involved in bringing all of these services and programs to you, including some of the programs that we operate to raise money to support many of the things that we do. And today we're going to talk to two very, very important people who are involved in managing some of those programs for the hospital. And I'd like to welcome Robin Page, who is our Director of Volunteers at the hospital and the Director of our thrift shop, and we'll be talking about both of those in a little bit. And I'd also like to welcome Susie Roden, who has a number of roles here at the hospital. Probably most importantly, she's our patient navigator for our breast cancer services and very, very involved in a number of women's cancer programs, which we'll learn about as well. And Susie and I were just talking. I know you've been here now 16
That's
years,
right, long
Susie?
time.
A very long time. And Robin, you've been with us in a couple different capacities, but how long overall?
12 years, going on 13.
12, 13,
Yes.
Okay. And you've been in this current position, what, about 2 years now? or
Yeah,
so?
going on 2 years.
Great. Well, I always like to open up with just a little bit of just so people can get to know you both, how you ended up out here in the East End and also at Stony Brook Southampton Hospital. So I'd like to throw it over to you first, Susie, if you just...
Sure. I have been out here probably since the middle 60s. My family moved out here.
Okay.
And when I was going to college in Rhode Island, I used to waitress at the Lobster Inn.
Okay.
And so I've been sort of a local yokel. Of course, I left for quite a few years. I went to see the world in California.
Right.
But my heart and family were always in Southampton. So I came back, and then I got a job at Southampton Hospital.
Right.
I left for a couple of years and couldn't wait to get back again to the hospital. So
Okay.
I've been here quite a long time. I've been part of the community, seems like forever. And I'm very fortunate because I'm one of those people that absolutely love their job. So
And
thank
you're
you.
one of the people that a lot of people love, too. You've been
Thank you.
intimately involved with so many of our cancer services and supportive care for people that are going through, who've been diagnosed with cancer, and then all of the help that they need, and particularly as our patient navigator.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you.
It's a great experience. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Robin, yourself, how'd you end up out here?
Well, I've been in the food and nutrition business for about 35 years, and I worked in one particular care facility in Port Jefferson, Long Island, and they closed the doors down about 13 years ago. So I had to get back out there, and I saw an ad in the paper, and it was for a food service supervisor, and I applied for it. I got the position. A year later, I was the director, and I did that position for the last 11 years, and I had a wonderful opportunity to be the volunteer director and thrift shop manager. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I'm honored to have this position, and I love it, absolutely love it. I'm not from Southampton. I'm a North Fork girl in Rocky Point.
We
but
won't hold that against you today.
I enjoy my commute. I have
Yeah.
my satellite radio that gets me all the way here and home.
That's great. Well,
And I'm going to butt in for a second. The best part about Robin being in charge of the thrift store and the volunteers is that she's also a volunteer with the Coalition for Women's Cancers.
Wow.
She has helped us with the 2-day walk. She's a big supporter, so it's a perfect connection.
Well, I've always observed the two of you seem to have limitless stores of energy, and the amount of work you do and things that you do around the hospital and for the people we serve is just astounding. Thank you so much. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the thrift shop. And Robin, if you wouldn't mind, just open us up. Thrift shops, people always kind of smile a little bit. They hear about thrift shops and hospital thrift shops. Seems like every hospital has a thrift shop. But just tell us a little bit about our thrift shop and its purposes.
Well, our thrift shop is, the location is 40 West Main Street in Southampton. There's a little history behind it. It was originally located at 79 Main Street in Southampton. and it was sold. And there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes in a thrift shop. It just doesn't happen.
And you're working as the manager. Tell us a little bit about your duties as the manager.
The manager, okay. Well, we receive donations at scheduled times. We sort them, we hang them up, we price them. We have regular donors. These items are very precious to the people that donate them. A lot of them are from family that have been deceased, just people who are tired of their clothing. It's amazing. We get antiques, all kinds of vintage items. I've learned so much about pricing them. That's a whole nother course in learning how to do that. And I have had the pleasure of working with the assistant manager at the thrift shop, Wayne Holmes, who has been doing this before me and has a lot of knowledge in that area. So he's been a great asset to the thrift shop.
That's great. I know the two of you make a very dynamic duo over there, keeping things. Now we'll talk a little bit about the history. And we've repurposed the thrift shop over the last couple of years. It has a new function, and do you want to just talk about that a little bit? What the proceeds are going toward?
Well, the proceeds are now the net proceeds are now going to the Coalition for Women's Cancers here on the East End. And that's where Susie comes into play, and she designates how that is distributed. And we don't have the year-end numbers just in yet, but I have a good hunch we're doing pretty well.
Doing very
and
well.
We've had some wonderful support from, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. We have support from people who, have remained anonymous, and now I have the honor to, let people know that Deborah Hurst has had she's a local community, Southampton Hospital community special interest donor, and has helped to pay our expenses, help with the expenses of running the thrift shop.
That's right,
over the last 2 years.
Our rent,
Yes.
which has just been remarkable. And person that stepped forward that I know wanted to do something. Typically donors want to buy a building or a piece of equipment, and she specifically wanted to do something that no one else would do, and thought this was a unique opportunity to underwrite the costs, the operating costs, and then make the thrift shop even more profitable so that we could turn that money into services for people suffering with cancer.
And what was nice, when I first took this position on, she had approached the foundation director.
Right.
And, she had asked him, where can her money help the most behind the scenes? Right. And, due to her philanthropic interest, she's just been amazing to us.
And I also understand that this summer we did a grand reopening, and there were some reasons that thrift shop, we really kind of rebranded, re-identified the thrift shop as well. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
What you did?
We did a renovation back in January and February. We did lighting, brand new lighting. We painted the walls. This was with the help of contractors. And it just looks amazing. We had one of our employees, family members, donated some time in building us a place to put the artwork, because it just wasn't the right setup. We revamped the whole place. We moved things around.
And there's mannequins in there now that have the clothes displayed. So
the displays, yes.
I can't seem to go in there without buying something. I always drop something off saying I'm not buying anything, and I do. Robin did an incredible job. It doesn't smell dusty, musty like some thrift stores do. It's spotless. And Robin and her volunteers are just so kind and generous, with their help and with their energy.
Let's talk about those volunteers a little bit. You've been working with a group. I know there's a very, very loyal group of volunteers that work over there. Can you just tell us a little bit about them?
Oh, sure. They've been with the Southampton Hospital volunteers for over the last 25 years.
Right.
They were with the other,
25 years, that's amazing.
the original thrift shop, and they've moved on to this one. So they know the community. They're retired teachers, retired real estate brokers, lawyers. They're real smart cookies, and they know the ins and the outs of the community and who's who and what's what, and they've helped guide me through, you know, who to take donations from, and
Right.
you know.
Seems like every time I go in there, they take a very, it's their shop.
It
They're
is
running
their
on behalf
shop.
of the community.
So, you know,
Absolutely right.
like any new position, it took me a little bit to adjust and them to accept me, and now
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're a terrific group, and we couldn't do it without them, certainly. So you said, where's the location now?
It's at 40 West Main Street in Southampton.
Okay,
It's directly behind Herrick's Hardware Store.
okay, lots of parking back
Yes,
there. I
it's
know
the
there's a big
municipal parking
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, great. So people, if they wanna fill their car with
Yes.
stuff, it's very accessible. This is an interesting community to collect thrift items from. It's not the usual community out here in East Hampton, Southampton, and I bet you get some interesting stuff into the store.
Oh, we sure
Yeah.
do.
Anything particularly interesting now, or?
Well, you know, we have an abundance of collectible toy cars
Oh,
and
really?
trucks
Interesting.
from as far back as 1964, 69. The Hess trucks, the Sunoco trucks. A gentleman had been saving his entire life, and now he saved them, collected them, and he donated them all to us.
His entire collection he
Yes.
donated. Wow.
So we have plenty of those for
Right.
the Christmas holidays. We'll have them displayed.
I want to
for
go over
sale.
now after this and take a look. I love those
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
They're pretty neat.
Do you have Christmas decorations, holiday decorations?
Oh yes, we're going to have a
great.
lot of holiday decorations, some vintage ornaments.
That's terrific.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. And people that want to donate, how do you go about donating?
Well, we have donation days, which are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
And the hours of donations are between 10 and 3 on Thursday and Friday,
Okay.
and 10 and 1 on Saturday.
Okay.
And if you have large items, it's really important to call ahead to make sure we have
Space for it, right, exactly.
And furniture. We can take small pieces of furniture.
Yeah, well, we've got pretty good space over there. We just can't take everything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So. Are there items that you won't accept?
Well, you know, we try to encourage people not to donate things that smell like they've been stored in mothballs or
Right.
musty. If they've been in the attic or garage for years and years, we really can't accept those.
Right. Things that can be cleaned and
Yes,
made
but you know,
presentable again.
we've stepped it up a bit. So this
Right.
is more of a, you know, Southampton Hospital Foundation thrift shop. I wish we could add boutique
Right.
to the end of the name, because it's more of a boutique than a
Right.
thrift shop.
It really is a beautiful
We-
spot in there.
We have
so.
beautiful china,
Right.
silver, gorgeous jewelry. We have lots of golf clubs,
Really? Interesting.
men's suits, three-piece suits, two-piece suits.
You used to have a really interesting collection of sort of vintage ties and things too.
We
You
still do.
Yeah, and the clothing is.
The clothing is top-notch.
Amazing.
It really
designer
is.
Clothing there. So.
Do you have prom dresses and things like that?
Yes, we have evening gowns, designer shoes, designer pocketbooks.
So young people sometimes like to buy vintage clothing for
Yeah.
this, or that's a
Right.
good, probably
And
a
I
good
think there
place
was a
to
mink
shop.
coat there, wasn't
We
there,
have a
this time
couple of
last year?
them.
Oh, you still do?
We have
Wow.
mink stoles, we have mink collars,
Wow.
just to wear around your neck.
Okay, now I'm going over.
Yeah, me too. We'll go over together, Susie. So how about volunteers? You mentioned the volunteers, but are you still looking for volunteers? Could you still use more?
We're always
help?
looking for
Yeah.
volunteers.
Yeah, and maybe you could talk a little bit also about your role as the director of volunteers at the hospital and the type of volunteers, what volunteers do at the hospital.
Well, we have a couple of programs. If anyone is interested in applying to be a volunteer, you can go right to our hospital website
Okay.
and go up to the bottom of the main page and click on careers. And when you click on careers, the volunteer cover page is there and all the applications. And the cover page describes what you need to do to get processed.
Okay.
And my number, my email address is there. We have several different programs. We have an ambassador program, which is located in the hospital, and those volunteers typically volunteer during the morning hours and the afternoon, and they help to escort patients from their rooms to tests. They help visitors through the hallways. They'll run any errands that anybody needs immediately. They'll call, the nursing will call the concierge desk, and there's always an ambassador nearby that can go help.
Yeah, I know that they're amazing in terms of providing that
They're
extra level
wonderful.
of support that patients and their families need.
For the most part, they're all professional, retired adults.
Yeah.
We have the NOTA program, which is run through palliative care
Right.
and Compassionate Companions.
You want to just describe NOTA?
NOTA stands for No One Dies Alone,
Right.
and that is spearheaded by Mary Hogarty, our hospital chaplain, and she has a training program, and anyone interested can sign up with her, and I process them with all their paperwork, and it's to sit with people who are in the end stages of their life, just to give them some compassion and caring, reading to them, just sitting with them, playing music for them, praying with them if that's what they choose. And this is not to replace their family, this is to help their family
Right, families
when they're
can't be there all the
unable to
time,
be
right,
there.
right.
So that offers comfort also to the families, knowing that we have a schedule of these volunteers, and the charge nurse has a list of that, so she can determine who needs it, and then she has a list of our names. And then there's the Compassionate Companions is a daily program that Mary runs, and that's going in and visiting patients to see if they need anything,
Right.
and then they move on to the next. And that's been a real big.
We have
Pet.
one of my favorites, our pet therapy volunteers
And we have
also.
pet therapy
Absolutely.
program, which is just amazing. That's really grown
Right.
quite a bit. I think we started out with a handful of dogs and their partners,
Yeah.
and I think we're up to about 25 of them now.
Wow, I didn't realize we had so many.
So it's, yeah.
We have a real pack in the
We have a
hospital.
pack.
Exactly. So I know that the volunteers are just very special people, and the hospital couldn't run without them, frankly. They really provide vital functions. And so can you just tell us a little bit, Robin, about how to find out more information about the thrift shop? Anybody's interested? Oh, and another question, what are you doing around the holidays? Any sales or special events planned around the
Oh,
holidays?
yeah, we're running sales around the holiday season. We run them throughout the year as well.
All right.
People can visit us on Facebook.
Okay.
They can just click in and like us,
All right.
Southampton Hospital Foundation Thrift Shop. If you come and visit the store, you can sign up to be on our email list,
Okay.
and you'll be alerted of all the sales right from there. And we do a weekly drawing of our email customers, and you'll receive a 20% coupon if your name is chosen that week. But we choose someone different every week.
Great. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all you're doing. And
You're
now
welcome.
the thrift shop, we don't operate a thrift shop just so we can do retail. We operate it because we want to generate some money to support the program that you're running, Susie, the Coalition for Women's Cancers. Can you tell us about that?
The Coalition for Women's Cancers helps the women on the east end of Long Island who have been diagnosed with breast and gynecological cancers. Originally, we were just a breast cancer organization, but about 10 years ago, we expanded our mission to include the women with ovarian, all gynecological cancers. And we help them in numerous ways, which means we always need some money. So getting the money from the thrift store is an unbelievable opportunity, and thank you both for offering it to the coalition. We are thrilled to be part of it. And what we do when the women are diagnosed, we help them financially. We help them pay some of their bills, we get them gas cards, we get them gift cards to the local grocery stores. as we know, living out here on the East End, transportation is very difficult, so we can get somebody a cab ride to chemo or pay for their gas to go to Riverhead for their radiation. As the patient navigator at the breast center and being part of the coalition, I really feel like I take the journey with them.
Right.
I think everybody knows that I am a breast cancer survivor, and 25, 30 years ago, there was nothing out here when I was diagnosed. So we have a great group of volunteers who have gone through their training with Robin. We do a peer-to-peer program. We have support programs. We do massages, wellness programs, acupuncture, but unfortunately, everything takes money.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do a lot of fundraisers, we write a lot of grants, but Robin has made me sleep at night, so thank you.
Right.
So, and the best part I think about, not the best part about the thrift store, but a wonderful thing is when people donate, they know their money's going right to the community. You know, sometimes you go to the dump and you drop off clothes, well, those t-shirts and everything that you're donating get torn apart and made into rugs.
Right.
This money goes from our community right to a person who needs the money. So that's so important.
It's like a win-win for
It
everyone.
is.
Exactly.
The people that want to get rid of their stuff, they've got a place to put it without feeling guilt about contributing to landfill. For the
Exactly.
people buying the stuff, they walk away with something and
Yeah,
make
you
a
don't feel bad that you
contribution
just
at the
spent
same
money.
time. Exactly,
Yeah.
right.
And when you were talking about the volunteers, I think the volunteers love it that the money's going to help somebody
Oh,
who has
yeah.
breast cancer, because that woman with the cancer will come into the thrift store and thank them for raising the money, for helping them. So like you said, it's win-win and more win.
Absolutely.
So
It is.
And you're the president of the Coalition for
I
Women's
am the
Cancers.
president and I am
What's
the
that
founder.
like? Yeah, well, describe that. What do you do in that role?
I work very hard on raising money. We, like I said, we support the women who are diagnosed. And one of the jobs that gives me great joy is that for the women who do not have health insurance or underserved, working with Stony Brook Southampton Hospital, we can offer them free mammograms, pap smears, and clinical breast exams. About 25 years ago, we did a survey asking the women in our community why they weren't having mammograms. And the top 3 answers were, I don't have insurance, I don't have transportation, and I don't have the time.
Right.
So we've tackled the insurance problem. I'll get you a ride for your mammogram. And we are just out there all the time saying, make the time. Be good to yourself.
Don't we even sometimes provide child care support or
We,
something? too?
yep, if
Right.
any excuse,
Right.
I can come up with some way to help you.
Right.
So there's really no excuse. And it's so sad when a woman comes in with an advanced cancer because she didn't have time to have a mammogram.
Right.
That's what breaks our heart. So, you know, I'm sorry, it's all about the thrift store, but I always like to say make sure early
That's-
detection
No,
is
I
the
agree.
key.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
we're all about.
Oh.
It really is about early detection. The Coalition for Women's Cancers has some pretty unique events. Can you just describe some of the things
Sure.
you've done this past year?
Just October was a tough month for
Yeah,
me. It was a
that's
great month for the
breast cancer
coalition,
month,
but we did a birdhouse auction, which I know you have
I
many
have a number of
birdhouses.
few birdhouses,
We did girls' night out at Gurney's, and I just found out we raised about $58,000.
Wow.
So that is fabulous.
Describe that event. I've seen the ads, but I don't really know
Okay,
what that is.
so it's Girls Gone Wild. We supply a jitney though, so nobody will drink and drive. Gurney's is very, very generous to us. You go for, you know, different prices and you can get a massage, thanks to our massage therapists are there.
Right.
You can get pink hair, you can get your nails done, there's drinks, there's food, and there's Chinese auction, silent auction, and then you buy a balloon for $25 and win a gift from $20 to $100, or buy a balloon for $50 and win a gift from like $40 to $200.
Wow.
And all the gifts have been donated by local businesses.
Wow.
So the support that this community has shown, the coalition and the Ellen Hermanson Breast Center, is absolutely amazing. I think everyone knows someone that's been affected by breast cancer,
Absolutely.
and probably they know somebody that we have helped. So they see us in action, and it really makes a world of difference for a woman who's diagnosed. You know, when you hear those words, you have cancer, where do you turn?
Right.
Luckily, hopefully, they know they can turn to me.
Everybody knows the Hamptons as this community where people come to play and they don't I think often associate us with the year-round things that go on here, and you know, it is just astounding to me the level of community involvement and caring that goes on in all of our communities, and
Right.
your organization's one of those. So.
And the not-for-profit organizations have grouped together to start an organization called Give Where You Live.
Right.
And I think it has really caught on. Businesses, before they donate, they want to know where their money's going. They want to make sure their money's staying right here in our
Right.
community. You know, people further west go, oh, who needs money in the Hamptons? Who needs help?
Right.
Well, you know, most of us have 2 or
Right.
3 jobs. We're the waitresses, we're the uninsured, we're cleaning houses. You
Right.
know, so it's construction. It's tough to live out here.
It is. It's
You know, we love living out here, we love going
Right.
to the beach, but it's difficult.
it's expensive.
So if we can make a difference, both Robin and I know we are making a difference,
Yes.
and that's what it's all about.
And you partner with a number of other really, really wonderful organizations. Can you describe a couple of those?
Sure. We work with Lucia's Angels,
Right.
Fighting Chance, American Cancer Society, and the Ellen Hermanson Foundation. I think what all the organizations do is wonderful, but the most important part is that we don't compete with one
Right.
another. We
Right.
want to do the best for the patient. So if Ellen's runs doing support groups, we won't do support groups. We'll do massages. Lucia's Angels won't offer massages, they'll offer something else. So it's so important that we all work together, and we work together well, and just sort of put our egos to the side and think about the patients. And that's what makes it such a success.
And Susie, I know that you also rely on a number of volunteers. Can you just describe some of the roles that the volunteers are playing for you at
Yes, one of our
Coalition?
most important roles is our peer-to-peer program. So if a woman is diagnosed, I will try to hook her up with another woman who's had a similar surgery or about the same age. If they're young, I'll team them up with a young woman, a young survivor if they're older. You know, we do a lot of that. Most of my volunteers are breast cancer survivors. I'm a firm believer that helping others is part of our healing. So, you know, after you've gotten through chemo and radiation, I always sort of kind of whisper to, why don't you help somebody, help us? And they come, they know how important the coalition was in their survival, and they want to give back. So it's an amazing group. It's 99% women, but you know, when push comes to shove and we need something, a husband will jump in. And the kids are, you know, they need community service, so they start out by sort of helping us with the attitude, and then the next year they're like, what else can we do?
All right.
The best part was bringing up my niece in this type of environment. When she was 5 years old, she said to me, who do we help next? And I thought, well, I'm doing a good job.
That's a wonderful,
So-
great job. And I know that, and you raised that point, that for people that have been through a diagnosis of cancer, it can be devastating and frightening, and people sometimes go into a depression almost about it. And it sounds like one of the best I've heard from, you know, clinicians, and one of the best ways to get over that is to get yourself involved, and working with other people. It seems like a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
So.
And I think so many community members want to help, they just don't know how to go about it.
Right.
And Robin can tell you, every organization welcomes volunteers,
Right.
you know, with open arms. So, you know, if you're sitting home and you say, well, I'm feeling sorry for myself, or I don't know what to do when I retire, call Robin, call me. We are always looking for volunteers.
Well, we're thrilled to have both of you and all of the energy that you're putting into these programs. And I also think that the way you described how well the various groups are working together is just, it really is remarkable, and good for all of us. We all may need your services at some point. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So thank you both so much for being here with us today, Robin
Thank you, Bob.
and Susie. And we're very excited about everything that's happening. I'm going to leave here and go run over to the thrift shop. I don't know about you, Susie, but I want those.
I'm joining you.
I want those antique toy trucks. That sounds pretty good to me. And I'd also like to thank all of you for watching our program today. And if you'd like to learn more about either the Southampton Hospital Foundation Thrift Shop or the Coalition for Women's Cancers, please look at our website. You can find information on our website. You can, as Robin pointed out, there's a Facebook page for the thrift shop. You can like that, or just stop by the store at 40 West Main Street. And if you'd like to learn more about the coalition, please visit their website at cwcshh.org. And I know that that'll be showing on the screen here in just a second. As always, I would like to invite anyone who has comments or questions about anything you've heard or would like to get in touch with either Susie or Robin, please feel free to call my office. If you just need help navigating our healthcare system here on the East End, please give me a call at 631-726-8555. We're very happy to help you. I'd like to thank our friends at CTV for producing this show and airing it in our Southampton communities, and as always, our friends at LTV for airing the program in our East Hampton communities. Happy holidays, everyone, and good health.